Hey everybody! I'm gonna wait just a couple seconds for you guys to jump on here. Sorry, I'm a minute late. I had some technical difficulties. Trying to record this on my computer and phone at the same time is very interesting. So, if you don't know me, my name is Jessica, and I am a coach. My team is called Team Health Patriots, and usually we have a team call every single week on Monday nights, and we talk about different health topics. We talk about different coaching things. We talk about mindset. We talk about a wide variety of things. I've been a coach now since March of 2016. Sorry, my years mixed up being a mom of a toddler and growing my own another human. So forgive me if my language is a little jumbled sometimes. But so yeah, I've been a coach now for, about 16 months. And every single week for the last 16 months, I've held a team call. In the beginning, that looked like me talking to me in the computer, but it's definitely grown to our team's almost 200 people now, and it's just super fun. So in light of the 4th of July and celebrating freedom this week, I wanted to talk about a topic that has been really heavy on my heart recently. And it is a lot because I work with a lot of people that are in different areas in their life, and I myself, like anyone, goes through different stages of their life where they're either struggling or they're at a high and super successful, or they failed really bad, and failure, specifically the fear of failure, I've seen get in the way of so many people and so many people's incredible potential. And it's something that I, like every single other human, has struggled with, but I'm thankful that I have learned some tools along the way to really help me, that I'm able to give to my team and really encourage them. And I wanted to share that with everybody tonight and not just my team. So that's what I'm doing. My husband is awesome to be able to watch my toddler, so you don't hear a screaming baby in the background. So I'm just going to go ahead and dig in. I see a few of you are on here tonight. So if you have any questions, comments, feel free to put it in the comment section. I believe it should pop up on here. Let's see. Nope. Okay. Well, it should pop up on here. But so going back to fear of failure, and the title of this is Overcoming the Fear of Failure with Extraordinary or Extreme Success. And I wanted to share a couple incredibly inspiring stories with you, and share as a coach my experiences with helping people, and both personally. So I want to start with this quote. The worst of errors to be made is to be always afraid to make an error. Don't you love that? It's so true. Like, if we all stop and think about why are we afraid of something, in the comment section, actually, will you do me a favor if you're watching this? And I want you to write why you're afraid of failing. Because we all have different perspectives on this, right? And there's always a reason. There has to be a reason for fear. So I want you to write in the comment section why you personally are afraid of failing. Here are some of the symptoms that are very common when people have a fear of failure. So we have, first, a reluctance to try new things. This is a huge one. Usually, I can't tell you how many people I've been on the phone with, or had text message conversations or email conversations with, and they've told me, Jessica, I love what you're doing. I love these challenge groups. I love the challenge pack. I love all these workouts, but it's just not my thing because I'm really afraid that I'm going to fail. And that's a real thing, and I know that a lot of you could totally resonate with that, where you don't even start because in your brain, you've already failed. And if you continue with that in life, I don't have to tell you, where that's going to get you, right? You're not going to try anything new, and you're going to really be self-sabotaging yourself. And that leads us to the second symptom, self-sabotage. For example, procrastination, excessive or failure to follow through with your goals. So maybe you're a big goal setter, but you never actually try because maybe on the surface you're like, yeah, maybe I can do this, but you doubt yourself intensely to where you self-sabotage your way and you never reach those goals. And then you get down on yourself if the first day you don't hit what your daily goal was and all of a sudden I'm a failure, I can't do this, right? Does that make sense? Number 3, low self-esteem, self-confidence. This is kind of the same, but using a lot of negative statements like, I'll never be good enough to get that promotion. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not skinny enough. This happens a lot in my business of health and fitness coaching, where we tell ourselves a lot, I'm not good enough. I wish I was that good. I wish I had the confidence to do that. I wish I had her abs so that I could share my amazing before and after pictures. I wish, you know what that kind of verbiage, it's not really true, because you could. In each and every one of us, we all have the potential to do all of those things. It's ourselves that stop us. If you want to share your before and after pictures, then do it. If you want to have a before and after picture, then do it. You know how, especially if you're watching this, you know how to get yourself healthy and get in shape and join a program and get the support that you need. You know how, it's just you are the one that's making that decision not to do it. So taking the ownership is super, super powerful, right? And then the 4th one is perfectionism. And Krista, I love what you wrote there. I worry about other people's judgments as well as I am a perfectionist. And this is for a lot of us too. We worry about what other people are going to think, which when we separate ourselves from our own emotion and look at that sentence, it's silly, right? And I'm not me. I do this to myself. I worry about what other people think myself. But then when I'm able to kind of disconnect that from my own emotions and just look at what are other people going to think, do I really live my life for other people? And pretty much all of you will say no, right? Do you really, if someone tells you you need to do this instead of that, a stranger, do you do that? No. You're not going to listen to them, right? Their opinion isn't credible. And so it's interesting as we kind of break these things down in the psychology behind it and how powerful that is. And we're going to kind of talk about that at the end in some of the things that we can do to fix our fears. But perfectionism, a willingness to try only those things that you know you'll finish perfectly and successfully, which is very minimal stuff. So for me, doing these live videos where like potentially, I mean, the potential of how many people could see me on here talking about these vulnerable issues is endless, right? I usually will only do things that I'm really passionate about or I feel confident in. Because if I was to get on here and talk about gardening, which I really want to be awesome at, but I'm super not good at, and like I kill succulents, which I don't even think that that's possible, but I do that somehow, you know, that would be an area that I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna do a live video on that. Maybe I'll write an article and hide behind a keyboard, you know? So perfectionism is definitely a huge thing. So those are 4 symptoms of fear of failure. So do a kind of a self-analysis and ask yourself, are you doing this to yourself? Because if you do, then this is going to be really powerful for you, right? This is going to be something that could totally change your life and the course of your life. And I cannot wait. So here in a second, I'm going to share with you 30 of these insanely successful people that you all know, every single one of these people. And I'm going to tell you their epic failures before they became history makers. So I'm really excited to share that with you guys. I was doing this research and like my brain was exploding. Okay, so a couple points really quick before we get into that. Failure is not an adjective. How many of us use it as an adjective? I'm a failure. You know what I mean? Like, so failure is a noun, and I guess you could use it in that, like, I'm a girl, I'm a failure. You know what I mean? As a noun. But a lot of times we use it to describe ourselves, which would be an adjective. It's not an adjective, it's a noun. To fail is a verb, it's an action. Literally, the definition is to fall short of success or achievement in something expected, attempted, desired, or approved. It is your perception if you failed, right? Because it is falling short of what you expected. Okay, so that's a big point because if it's our perception, we always can control our perception of something, right? And so I want you guys to hold on to this because it's going to be really powerful as we talk about some of these stories. And then we kind of talked about what is it that we fear. A lot of times it's fearing to do something for the first time. It's the unknown, the unexpected, like a new job. When I got my job as a nurse that I work at, where I work right now, you know, I was very nervous about it. I was fearful of failing because I had no idea what the heck I was doing. And at the time, there wasn't really many people to train me, so I had to figure it out. And that fear of failure for the first time is usually where most people get hung up, right? Realize that this has not always been our mindset for any of us. We were all 1 year old at one point, and if we were fearful of failing for the first time to do something, we would never learn to walk, right? So also realize that this is a learned trait. This is a learned habit if you are fearful of failing. And it's a learned trait that can consume and control so many of us in so many areas of our lives. That's a really powerful realization because you have 100% control over it. And once you realize that, you can change it, right? It's not something that you're born with. It's not a spell that was cast upon you that you can't do anything about. You literally can change it today, right now. And I'm going to go over that again at the end. So I really liked this quote I'm going to share real quick with you. Failure is really a noun and it's subjective. When I realized this, I started initially to see things differently. Why can Mike, the common guy outside, jump the hurdles of so-called failure, continuing up with great faith and joy in his endeavors, while Jim, the Harvard grad, sit and cries his eyes out when his business only lasts 12 months, resolving to never try that again? Did both fail? Yes. If we're defining failure with regards to things not going as planned, but how can one guy be cool with it, dust himself off, and return up and try again, and another guy can't? They view failure differently. We should look at these things when they don't really go as planned as learning opportunities. And I loved that because we are all going to fail, you guys, in every area of our life. And the most successful people will be the first to tell you that they failed so many times. And the difference between someone who's successful and somebody who's not is they don't quit. They take the opportunity, like this quote said, they learn from it and they grow and they use it as a character building opportunity. If we never had hardships in our lives, we would never have character. We would never appreciate life and life's amazingness. So we have nothing to be afraid of. Instead, we should embrace it and go with it, right? Okay, so this is one of my favorite parts. This is the 30 stories that are going to blow your mind. Are you ready? Okay. Number 1. Have you guys heard of the Huffington Post? Maybe a little newspaper, a little important paper that is read around the world. So Arianna Huffington, founder of the Huffington Post, got rejected by 36 publishers. Do you think they were kicking themselves? Number 2, Bill Gates. Kind of a big deal, right? Bill Gates watched his first company crumble. Gates entered the entrepreneurial scene with a company called TrafoData, which went belly up. Super unsuccessful. It didn't work. A few years later, he didn't give up. He continued, and he created his first Microsoft product, which you guys all know about. Super successful man, right? Number 3, George Steinbrenner bankrupted a team. Before Steinbrenner made a name for himself when he acquired ownership of the New York Yankees, maybe you guys know of them, he owned a small basketball team called the Cleveland Pipers back in 1960. By 62, as a result of Steinbrenner's direction, the entire franchise went bankrupt. That stretch of failure seemed to follow Steinbrenner when he took over the Yankees in the 70s, as the team struggled with a number of setbacks and losses throughout the 80s and the 90s. That's 3 decades. However, Despite public fear and criticism of Steinbrenner's controversial decisions, eventually he led the team to an amazing comeback with 6 World Series entries between 1996 and 2003 and record as one of the most profitable teams in Major League Baseball. Imagine if he would have quit. How many of you honestly would have quit? I'm not going to lie, I probably would have. Right? That's amazing. You guys know Walt Disney, kind of a big deal? Walt Disney was fired by a newspaper editor for lack of ideas and creativity. Disney also went bankrupt several times before he built Disneyland. I just kind of think back to these and like the people who rejected all these incredibly successful people, imagine how they feel, right? Okay, number 5. We've got 30 to get through. Steve Jobs, booted from his own company. Steve Jobs is an impressive entrepreneur because of his boundless innovations, but also because of his emphatic comeback from an almost irrecoverable failure. Jobs found successes in his 20s when Apple became a massive empire, but when he was 30, Apple's board of directors decided to fire him. I'm sure a lot of you know the story now since the movie that came out. Undaunted by the failure, Jobs founded a new company, Next, which was eventually acquired by Apple. Once back at Apple, Jobs proved his capacity for greatness by reinventing the company's image and taking the Apple brand to another level that it is now, right? Okay, number 6, Milton Hershey started and failed 3 candy companies before he created and founded Hershey's. Colonel Sanders had the construction of a new road put him out of business in 1967. He went to over 1,000 different places, was rejected by every single one to sell his seasoning blend for his chicken with 11 herbs and spices. 7 years later, at the age of 75, Colonel Sanders sold his fried chicken company for a finger-licking $15 million. Can you imagine? Number 8, Henry Ford failed and went broke 5 times before he finally succeeded and created the amazing America-built Ford brand. Where am I? I lost my spot. Sorry, guys. Number 9, Beethoven's teacher called him hopeless as a composer. Number 10, Albert Einstein did not speak until he was 4 years old. He didn't read until he was 7. His teacher described him as mentally slow, unsociable, and adrift forever in his foolish dreams. He was expelled and refused admittance to Zurich Polytechnic School. The University of Bern turned down his PhD dissertation as being irrelevant and fanciful. Albert freaking Einstein. Did you guys hear that? Like, that's crazy. Okay, continuing. Number 11. The movie Star Wars was rejected by every movie studio in Hollywood before 20th Century Fox finally produced it. It went on to be one of the largest grossing movies in film history. Number 12. When NFL running back Herschel Walker was in junior high, he wanted to play football, but the coach told him he was too small. He advised young Herschel to go out for track instead. Never one to give up, he ignored the coach's advice and began an intensive training program to build himself up. Only a few years later, Herschel Walker won the Heisman Trophy. That's like the ultimate, take that. Number 13, Babe Ruth. You guys might know him. Considered by sports historians to be the greatest athlete of all time and famous for setting the home run record, also holds the record for strikeouts. At least he went out swinging, right? Number 14, Margaret Mitchell's classic Gone with the Wind was turned down by more than 25 publishers. I'm pretty sure everybody in here knows that book, right? 15, in 1954, Jimmy Denny, manager of the Grand Ole Opry, fired, can you guys guess? Elvis Presley. After one performance, he told Presley, "You ain't going nowhere, son. You ought to go back to driving a truck." Elvis Presley went on to become the most popular singer in America. A legend. Number 16, Dr. Seuss's first children's book, And to Think I Saw It on Mulberry Street, was rejected by 27 publishers. The 28th publisher, Vanguard Press, sold 6 million copies of the book. Boom. 17, R.H. Macy. Any of you guys shop at Macy's? Yeah? Most people are familiar with this large department store chain, but Macy didn't always have it easy. Macy started 7 failed businesses before finally hitting big with his store in New York City. 18, Akio Morita. Never heard of this guy. You may not have heard of Morita, but you've undoubtedly heard of his company, Sony. Sony's first product was a rice cooker that unfortunately didn't cook rice so much as it burnt it, selling less than 100 units. This first setback didn't stop Morita and his partners as they pushed forward to create a multi-billion-dollar company. 18, Thomas Edison. Thank you for the lights, right? Thomas Edison. In his early years, teachers told Edison he was too stupid to learn anything. These teachers are really mean, by the way, back in the day. Work was no better, as he was fired from his first 2 jobs for not being productive enough. Even as an inventor, Edison made 1,000 unsuccessful attempts at inventing the light bulb. Of course, though, all of those unsuccessful attempts finally resulted in the design that worked. So glad that guy didn't give up, right? 20, Winston Churchill. Excuse me. Take a drink. The Nobel Prize-winning, twice-elected Prime Minister of the United Kingdom was not always as well regarded as he is today. Churchill struggled in school and failed the 6th grade. After school, he faced many years of political failures as he was defeated in every election for public office until he finally became the Prime Minister at the ripe old age of 62. 21, Abraham Lincoln. While today he is remembered as one of the greatest leaders of our nation, Lincoln's life wasn't so easy. In his youth, he went to war, a captain, and returned a private. If you're not familiar with military ranks, just know a private is as low as it goes. Lincoln didn't stop failing there, however. He started numerous failed businesses and was defeated in numerous runs he made for public office before he became the legend that we all know about. 22, Oprah. Need I say more? You all know about Oprah? Most people know Oprah as one of the most iconic faces in TV, as well as the most richest and successful woman in the world. Oprah didn't always have successful experiences, though. And during a rough and often abusive childhood, as well as numerous career setbacks, including being fired from her job as a TV reporter because she was told she was unfit for television. She showed them. 23, Jerry Seinfeld. Many people's most favorite comedian. My dad loved watching Jerry Seinfeld. Just about everybody knows who Seinfeld is, but the first time the young comedian walked on stage at a comedy club, he looked out at the audience and froze. He was actually booed off the stage without saying a word. That next night, he ended up going back to the comedy club, and he ended up fixing it, and the rest, obviously, is history. But his very first time, he totally, epically failed. Lucille Ball. I Love Lucy. During her career, Ball had 13 Emmy nominations and 4 wins, also earning the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Kennedy Center Honors. Before starring in I Love Lucy, Ball was widely regarded as a failed actress and a B movie star. Even her drama instructors didn't feel she could make it, telling her that she should try another profession. She, of course, proved them all wrong. We're getting there. 25. Vincent van Gogh. Vincent van Gogh. During his lifetime, Van Gogh sold only 1 painting, and it was to a friend and for a very small amount of money. It was like a pity sell, right? Well, Van Gogh was never a success during his lifetime. He plugged on with paintings, sometimes starving to complete his over 800 known works. Today, they bring in hundreds of millions of dollars. 26, Steven Spielberg, kind of a big deal also. While today Spielberg's name is synonymous with big budget, he was rejected from the University of Southern California School of Theater, Film, and Television 3 times. He eventually attended school at another location, only to drop out to become a director before finishing. 35 years after starting his degree, Spielberg returned to school in 2002 to finally complete his work and earn his bachelor's. 27, J.K. Rowling. Rowling may be rolling in a lot of Harry Potter dough today, but before she published a series of novels, she was nearly penniless. Severely depressed, divorced, trying to raise a child on her own while attending school and writing a novel. Rowling went from depending on welfare to survive to being one of the richest women in the world in a span of only 5 years through her hard work and determination. That is the moral of all of this, right? Amazing. Hold on, I need another drink. Okay, 28, the Beatles. Few people can deny the lasting power of this supergroup, still popular with listeners around the world today. Yet when they were just starting out, a recording company told them, no, we don't like your sound and guitar music is on its way out. Obviously, the world did not agree. 29, Tom Landry. As the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Landry brought the team 2 Super Bowl victories, 5 NFC Championship victories, and holds the records for the most career wins. He also has the distinction of having one of the worst first seasons on record in history, winning no games and winning 5 or fewer over the next 4 seasons. That's epically bad, right? Okay, and our last one of my favorites. This guy is actually the one who inspired me to do this live video with you guys from a new Gatorade commercial that came out, which I'm not sure if you guys have seen it, but it's actually really awesome. Michael Jordan, the legend. Most people wouldn't believe that a man often lauded as the best basketball player of all time was actually cut from his high school basketball team. Can you imagine being that coach now? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm responsible for cutting the world's best basketball player ever in history in high school. Do you know what I love though? I love Michael Jordan's attitude about it and how he uses that experience to encourage other people. This is what he says. So luckily Jordan didn't let his setback stop him from playing the game, and he has stated, I have missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I have lost almost 300 games. On 26 occasions, I have been entrusted to take the game-winning shot, and I missed. I have failed over and over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. I love that because it's so true. Nobody will be truly successful unless they fail and they learn from their experiences and they learn what it's like to fail. Because as a leader, as a successful person, no matter what area that you're in, you need to know what it's like to be in the trenches. That's what makes an amazing leader. That's what makes you tangible. You know, as a coach, that's what makes you a real person. That's what helps you connect with your people. This is where, you know, I've done videos in the past about struggling through hardships in life and seeing the positive side of that now you can connect with people who are hurting as well. And that's what failure is. It's a hardship. That's it. It's a hardship that we can learn from and that we can grow from and that we can connect with people from and we can encourage people from. And if we can wrap our mind around that, it completely removes all the power that it had previously had on us. And I kind of wanted to end this with the realization that, you know, we see all these successful people, and a lot of times we, myself included, have the I wish mentality. I wish I could be that successful. I wish I could do what they did. All of them started exactly where we started, you guys. For the most part, none of them had, you know, super connections or anything special like that. They just had an incredible work ethic and they failed. They weren't afraid to fail and they went forward and they took action. Sorry. And so if we really want that, if you really want success in your life, do a really deep analysis on yourself and where your heart's at. If you catch yourself saying, I want that, I wish I had that, then ask yourself, are you willing to do what those people did to get there? Are you willing to put the work in? And that is usually where people are honest with themselves. They'll say no. And if you are, then you take steps every single day. And that's where the power comes from. That's where we see in our challenge groups, that's where we see the biggest difference is over a period of time of doing 30-minute workouts, of drinking 1 shake a day, of making better choices 1 bite at a time. None of us are perfect. Nobody is perfect. Jesus was the only perfect one, and we obviously, none of us are Jesus. So we need to stop being so hard on ourselves and really just start living life and enjoying the adventure. There's one more quote I wanted to share with you guys that I really liked. Many times the journey to the goal is a dance. It's the cha-cha. We move a couple steps forward and a couple steps back. We learn from this and readjust as we go. It's even deciding throughout the dance if this goal is really where you want to be. Learning to expect failure along the way and appreciating what is learned allows for enjoyment throughout the adventure. And I love that because we really need to start enjoying our life more. As a health and fitness coach, as a person passionate about helping other people live to their fullest potential, this is huge because so many times we do not enjoy the journey in life. We're so focused on the end result. We're so focused on the future that we forget to stop and enjoy moments, you know, especially when you become a parent. That's been a huge eye-opener for me the last year and a half. Is like, I need to just stop and I need to just enjoy this craziness that I'm living in and soak it in because it's going to be gone before I know it. And that's like all of your guys's, you know, journeys, wherever you're at in life. Life is so short. Why are we letting the fear of failure stop us from living to our fullest potential? So you might be asking, yeah, Jessica, this all sounds amazing, but I don't know what to do to like stop. This is really has a huge grip on my life. There's 2 things I want you to focus on that are very tangible. One of it is a perspective shift. And we talked about this throughout this whole call, video, whatever this is, right? We talked about realizing the potential in the potential in failure instead of seeing it as a big, fat, scary object is huge. Because if you're going to look at say, for me, I have a huge goal to be able to be really successful in my business, to make enough income so that eventually I can stay home with my family, right? As a registered nurse who gets paid really well, that's a big, scary goal for me. Because I have the same, like my family depends on my income, right? So that can be really scary. But then at the same time, the potential in that, to be able to work from home, to be able to earn substantially more of an income, doing actually what I love, what I'm passionate about from home, the potential in that scary task or whatever you want to call it is so much bigger to me than any fear that I have. That's what my mind is set on. It's not set on fear anymore because it's not an option. Failure is not an option for me. True failure is quitting, right? I know I'm not going to quit, and you have control over that also. Okay, so perspective shift, mindset, and then the second thing is to practice it, because you could feel super inspired right now after hearing all those stories. But if you don't practice this mindset, you're going to lose it because it's taken practice to be fearful of failure. So now you're going to have to practice not being afraid of failing, right? And how do you do that? You do that through personal development books is a huge thing. Google books to help when you're afraid of failure. Or you can message me. I have a ton of great recommendations. As Beachbody coaches, that's one of the huge things that the company pours into us is you have to fill yourself up. You have to strengthen yourself in order to help other people. And it's so true. You have to be the best version of yourself so that you can help others. So personal development books is huge. And then submerge yourself in new activities to kind of get over that fear of failing of new things. So try yoga if you've never tried yoga. Try paddleboarding if you've never tried stand-up paddleboarding. Try doing a cartwheel. I don't know, like the littlest things. Do an art project or Try doing your first 5K if you've never done that, to prove to yourself that you can do it. And if you fail, so what? That's a huge, another perspective shift, right? If you fail, what's the worst case scenario? Are you going to die? Most likely not, unless it's like jumping out of an airplane without a parachute or something stupid like that, right? Most of the things we're afraid of, they're not going to kill us if we fail. So you just move on. That's it. Who cares? Nobody cares, really. It's not like everybody's watching you, waiting for you to fail. Even though we think that, it's very silly, our brains, right? So those two things, perspective shift and practice that perspective shift. Do that every day and believe in yourself, because you're worth it and your family counts on you to believe in yourself. And once you realize that, you have something to fight for. You have something to do this for other than yourself, right? It totally changes the game on everything. And if you need help or support in this area, I want you to reach out to me, because our team is so freaking awesome. And for all of you who are watching who are on our team, I love you guys and I appreciate you guys, because we've really attracted some really strong individuals who are real and who struggle right alongside with each other, and they're honest about it. And you know, they'll tell me and they'll tell their teammates, hey, I'm really struggling today with my meal plan, or I'm really struggling with this program, or I'm really struggling, I'm really down on myself for the last 2 weeks of not working out. I need some help here. And that's what we do. And that's what my desire is for our team, is to have this culture where we're supporting each other and we're honest, real with each other. Like, I don't sleep through the night. This is really hard for me to get all this stuff done and, you know, feel like I have to be super mom. And I reach out to people and my team and to the leaders on our team. And we're really a tight-knit group that loves to support each other. And so if that's something that you're interested in, that you want to be a part of something bigger, a team kind of setting, you don't have to leave your own house. I mean, we do this all from where we're at, because we all have lives and we all have jobs and we all have families. But it's really cool to be a part of something so supportive in this aspect that really impacts every other area of our life. And that's our goal, to be there for each other so we can each be there for our families more. I'm going to leave you guys with a project, homework. I want you to reflect on a time that you failed. And I want you to reflect on a time maybe where you overcame your failure, and what happened. What did you have to do to kind of overcome your failure? And how did you feel afterwards? This call, I won't lie to you, every time I do a live video, there's always butterflies in my stomach of, oh my gosh, am I going to remember what all the things I wanted to say, or am I going to blabber on about nothing, or I'm going to say a stupid word? And then I realized the purpose of doing this and who I might reach and who this might help, and it's gone, you know, and that's an awesome feeling. Every time I do one of these live videos, I get off the phone. It's very weird technology. You know, when it's over, and I'm so stoked that I did it, and I feel so full because I've been able to give back and just some things that have been able to help me. So I hope this has been helpful for you guys. I'd love to hear your feedback and maybe some tools that maybe help you overcome fear, or some examples, like I said, of when you've done that and how that made you feel, or maybe some points of this whole talk that really spoke to you. So thank you guys so much for being on here. It's so cool to see you all, and I appreciate it. I hope you all have an amazing night tonight with your families, and be fearless. I'll see you guys later. Bye.